This is Matrix Lord 212, and I fear that pretty soon Marvel Comics will be unrecognizable in the comic book form. With all the dramatic changes going on to the characters as well as the Marvel timeline, old fans like me as well as every other Marvel Comics fan that's been around might as well just pick up and leave because, if you're gonna spit on history like that, there's no sense in us just reading the nonsense that you're putting out today. So, I really don't accept, dramatic changes to characters like this, especially with Spider-Man and Wolverine. It's just unacceptable that somebody would have the power to undo all years of continuity, and any way that you shake it, you are destroying the continuity of the comic books. You are destroying, and I'm going to bring up my favorite character, Spider-Man, because I'm still pissed off, and I'll always be pissed off about that. But, if you really wanted to get rid of their marriage, Peter Parker and Mary Jane, the one thing you wouldn't do, obviously, is to do a mystical, magical spell to undo that, because it would make Spider-Man a comic book. It wouldn't make it, like, anywhere resembling reality whatsoever, and you just lost focus. You just lost focus on the purpose of the Spider-Man books. You lost purpose, what you're gonna do next, and you just broke all the rules and threw the rule book out, because you basically could undo anything. You could turn Spider-Man into a villain. I mean, you basically just spit on the character. And you know what? I'm not going to accept that. I will never accept what was done in the comic. And if I ever had the opportunity to fix it, if I was ever given the glory and the honor to work for Marvel Comics, I would fix it, because I would not, just a principle alone, I could not accept this as permanent. You have a character that's been around since 1963, and you want to take care of the character. You want the character to go on and then prosper, as well as make a nice piece of change for Marvel Comics. But you don't destroy the character like was done, I feel. And you don't destroy the other characters. It doesn't matter. Like, even if me as a fan, if I didn't like certain characters, I wouldn't like go in the comic if I was a writer and destroy those characters. I mean, those characters, have the honor of being around for so many years. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't undo things, but the things that were done, I mean, just it would never happen. Um, and I bet you Stan Lee doesn't even know that it happened in the comics. Because if he actually read it, he'd probably be like, "What the f?" I mean, Wolverine leading the X-Men, forming the X-Men. You just crapped on Professor X. You just threw out, what it means to be, what the X-Men book means, like why it was formed in the first place. I mean, one man like created this, and he was he used his brain, and he was sitting in a wheelchair. He was handicapped, but he had powers that he just he strived to have a school that would teach mutants how to better themselves, and for peace of all mankind, and now you just crapped on that whole idea. I mean, you just what are you doing? And who is it? Is it Joe Quesada? I mean, come on, wake up. I mean, are you making your reality, into the comic books? I mean, the marriage alone with Peter and Mary Jane, even the fact that, they tried to erase that she was pregnant, and then I guess she had a miscarriage or whatever. Why would you erase things? Why can't you just leave things alone? I mean, there were storylines that I really didn't agree with at all that happened in the Spider-Man books before that. I didn't agree 100% what was done with Gwen Stacy and Norman Osborn having a romance and her having children. I thought that was garbage, and I didn't accept it. Just like I felt that there was no place for the comic books to tell the tale of 9/11, how there's thousands and thousands of heroes, and nobody was there that day. I just and then they had on Ground Zero, you had like the worst villains in history, and they try to make it like they weren't that bad. Like, I just I don't accept that at all. Like, I mean, that's bad storytelling. So, um, there's a lot of things I don't accept, but that was crossing the line with the deal. Um, and I just hope that it's a shame. I mean, you got something going so good now with Disney and the movies, and then meanwhile, that's going to only be the comic book's going to become extinct because you're destroying the character so much that all us original fans are going to leave, and then you're only going to have the new fans, and they're going to lose interest very, very fast. So, if that's what's going to happen, that's what's going to happen. I mean, you can't alienate your audience. You got to sometimes stop and listen to what the people are saying and not think that you're in charge of everything where you can make the ultimate decision, because ultimately it's the wrong decision. Okay, if the majority doesn't like it, then it's got to go. And if you took a poll, I'm almost sure every single Spider-Man fan would say that they don't agree with the deal with Mephisto. In fact, you know what? I dare you to put something in a comic to take a poll to question that decision. And you know what? What's even better, I dare that if the outcome is that nobody accepts that decision for Miss Fisto to make a deal with Peter Parker, then you undo it. Okay? Ball's in your court, Marvel Comics. I'm not going to mention any names, but this message is going out to one person in particular. But I challenge. I'm Joe Schmo. Who the hell am I? But you don't do stuff like that. You don't destroy. You're destroying the comics, and it's not good. For to make a quick buck for a storyline. Um, Everything needs to be restored with the Spider-Man books, as far as I'm concerned. And even if you're gonna actually bring back Gwen Stacy, you got to do it in a way where you wouldn't affect everything that came before. I mean, the stuff that I was reading on Wikipedia, I mean, the ideas that they were going to do and everything, it's just like, I don't know. Who am I to say anything? I'm one fan out of many, but, if enough fans speak their mind, and give a message to Marvel Comics to stop changing the timeline and stop altering the characters so bad, maybe Marvel Comics will listen. So that's just me ranting, all right? And there's no hatred involved for, anybody creating these storylines. It's just, I just want people to take a look at what they're doing. Read comics that came before, okay? And don't feel like your ego is so existing so much that you have the power to change it all, and who cares what anybody says, okay? Because at the end of the day, your salary is getting paid by the amount of books that are sold. And I could tell you right now, the majority of the people buying your books are old fans. So if they go, why don't you find out and see how you rely on new fans only, okay? So that's it.